Magad Chairley agus dosach bara boilem dir focail faoi rud mátag a dionaneo sé sin go mbeidh reachtaíocht teanga ó thua. B'súlam go dtíobhann go gcaithme bra fearr an tasna leis a dhéanamh ag sin mar atá. Tásúlam go mbeidh téagar sa mille nua le ceartar lucht láithre na Gaeilge chosint as ní le Gaeilge a bhrú ar dhaoine nach spéis lo e. I'm glad today that language legislation to be published, and I will hope that it will be enacted by the summer recess at the latest. The Dearg le Farag march last weekend showed that there's a large community of people who desire proper support for the Irish language and rights conferred on Irish speakers. I also welcome that there are other separate provisions for Ulster Scots and Indigenous cultures in this bill. I think we have to learn in Ireland that inclusivity is not to be feared, and that generosity and inclusivity in our dealings enriches all and does not threaten anybody's identity. And I'm saying that as a habitual Irish speaker in this country. It doesn't threaten me one bit if somebody else has a different culture to me. I'm a Republican, and I believe that real republicanism in Ireland is inclusive and wants to see a new Ireland where decisions on this island are made in an inclusive way by all of the people of this island, whether their natural background is unionist or nationalist. I feel at times that our approach to resolving the new issues caused by Brexit was dealt with in a slightly confrontational way rather than an inclusive way on this island. I fully agree that there should not be any border within the island of Ireland. And from my talks, I believe that many in the DUP privately accept it and know this. What was always going to be difficult for them was the fact that there would be checks in the Irish Sea. And I think it's important, and I think we have to differentiate between British interests, which are totally different to the interest of the Unionists in the North. I think we have to take into account their sensibilities and try to find a way forward. I think also that a problem was that neither the Irish nationalist community, north or south, or the Unionist community, north or south, were actually engaged in the frontline talks. And the actual engagement in talks always is the thing that leads to the acceptance of the final compromise. And I think that that is maybe something that we have never fully addressed. It will be, in my view, absolutely vital that the UK and the EU seek, while protecting the dual position of Northern Ireland as being both in the EU and the UK Customs Union and in the EU single market, to do so in as unobtrusive manner as possible within the terms of the protocol, and to try and make the movement of goods between Northern Ireland and Great Britain and vice versa as seamless as possible. I have to say that if you ask me who did more for peace and security of people of Northern Ireland, the British Army, PSNI or Gordon Wilson, I'd say Gordon Wilson by any stretch of the imagination, without any guns, without any security apparatus, because he reached across in the most difficult point of his life. And we have had relative peace for the last number of years, the last killing associated with the troubles being that of Lyra McKee. But I wouldn't let complacency lull us into false security. I have worked for years to persuade people from the physical force tradition that a much better way of realising their aims is through the political process and by persuasion. But I've also fought for their human rights in prison and outside of it. Peace will only be possible if they believe that they are treated with fairness and respect. Those that believe that a more draconian security approach is the answer to diffusing the threat they perceive to be there are, I believe, wrong. I have major concerns with a number of issues in the north of Ireland in relation to prison conditions for segregated prisoners, strip searching, control, movement, isolation and lack of education facilities. Incessant stop and search being carried out on the families of perceived dissenting Republicans. Long remands of up to 3 years and strict bail of over 8-year cases before cases are brought to trial. There also seems to be a policy of arrest and release in certain areas. Family of bank accounts being closed by the authorities, thus leaving whole families without access to welfare payments. I and 2 comrades who work with me will be preparing a submission on this for the Minister of Foreign Affairs, which he asked me to do. Mara deartar to golor junta, a cajivan hain to golor fos le junna. Good